Uh, Unable to find a product whenever you go out there to look in your warehouse. And in fact, every time you are able to find a product, it takes a hell lot of time. Or with this, you have a great dependency on this one person who manages your warehouse. If he goes absent, it will be a complete nightmare. In spite of this dependency, and maybe you're paying him also handsomely, you still have no clue of whether what is showing in your inventory report is even there in your warehouse. If these are challenges that you are facing, if you have attempted in the past to streamline your warehouse but you failed, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to be discussing step-by-step approach you can take to go about organizing your warehouse. Keep watching. Welcome back, champions. My name is Hardik Harsora and I make videos that can help your business grow. If you think what I say makes sense, and if you think a conversation with me one-on-one can help you troubleshoot some of your business challenges, then all you need to do is go on to my website, scroll a little down, select the relevant area you want to troubleshoot with me, answer a few very basic questions, and there you will be able to book a free one-time consultation call with me. So organizing a warehouse has to be a two-phased activity. The first phase is planning and the second phase is actually execution. Now, in the past, if you've not done your planning phase well, it is sure to become a very cluttered exercise. And most often than not, you will not get the end result. So let me very quickly outline the steps that you need to take in planning and the things that you need to keep in mind during execution to organize your warehouse. Let's start with planning first. So the first thing that you need to do in the planning stage is create a database. We in our process language call this master. What should this master have? The master should have first the name of the product or the subtype or sub-name of the product. Then it needs to have details of how the product comes in your warehouse. So chances are that the product comes in a carton. So every carton has multiple pieces of the product. So you have like 100 pieces of a product come in one single carton. So you got to know that it comes in a carton. Each carton has about 100 pieces. Then it also needs to know how the product is sold. Chances are it comes in the carton, you sell it in the carton. But sometimes it comes in the carton and then you sell loose pieces, one piece at a time. If that's the case, you need to mention that also against the name of the product. So there are three columns that I spoke about. The fourth and the fifth thing that you need to write down is what is the kind of package and the size of the package precisely that comes in your warehouse, and what is the kind of package size that will be required when it goes out of your warehouse against the order. The reason why we need to know this is assuming there are instances of the whole carton coming in, then you need to know the size of the carton to be able to store the carton in the right place, to be able to make a place of that kind. And why do we need to know the size of how you sell it? Because chances are you sell 50 products or 50 loose items out of that 100 item carton in 1 month, which means you will have a separate place from where you are going to start dispatching those products. So you got to know the sizes at both these levels. The sixth and the seventh item is the weight of the product when it comes in and the weight of the products when it's supposed to go out of your warehouse against an order. Now, why do you need weights at two different places? Again, because you're going to manage two different inventories in two different ways. Let's take an example. When your incoming inventory comes, these are raw materials. So the weight of each raw material is obviously lesser than all the raw materials combined and turning into a finished goods, which is the kind of inventory that you are going to send out. So you need to know, to manage both of these inventories, what is the kind of weight that both of these inventories would individually have. Now, point number 8. You may want to also have a column where you can write whether this particular product requires some special storage criteria. For example, you want a product to be stored in a dry place. Specifically for pharmaceutical products, that could be a requirement. You want a place temperature controlled, that could be a requirement. Or you simply want a place for that product where nothing can be kept on that product. So you can't have it anything over its head. So if you have certain placement and storage requirements, you can write down in that column also. The point number 9 is frequency, which is how frequently will you need to take the products out from wherever they have been stored. Because we are going to have a working warehouse, we need to keep this in mind that when we need the product, it's like a hand away from where we are, right? It's easy for you to take it out. So make sure you also grade them on frequency on which it's going to be asked to be taken out. The 10th one that you will need, and this is again a very obvious one, is the count of your current inventory. Along with the count, also add buffer, which means assuming you have this particular product, you have 10 units right now or 10 cartons right now, you plan to do more trade in the future, in the near future, and therefore you may have already ordered a consignment of it, or the products are already in the production. If that number is going to increase, then plan that buffer and write that count down. Doing these 10 points means that you will have a database that very clearly tells you what is the kind of product, how much is the storage required, and you will be able to plan your storage requirements better. So that brings us to point number 2. And there we are going to discuss and plan the storage requirements. Now, obviously, there are multiple type of storages that are available for you to choose from. Some of them broadly are like shelves. Okay. Now, these shelves can be static or it can be mobile, where you can put your products. It could also be bins. So where you have smaller raw materials like nuts and bolts, you may have bins in which you keep it and you weigh it by kgs or pounds, right? You may also have pallets on which you put heavy products on. Now these pallets, you could also put it in the shelves. By the way, you could also have multi-layer shelves, which means you have a first floor, ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. You may use the vertical limit available in your warehouse. Chances are you may not want to have shelf and you may rather go for a mezzanine floor. So, and then move products which are there on the first floor via lift, because these are heavy products. You need a lift to do it. So you may have several options of storing products which are extremely valuable. You may have a lock and key kind of a storage. Based on the kind of products that you have, you've already listed down what shape and size they are going to be at when they arrive, and therefore what is the kind of storage you will need, and what is the shape and size and weight that they will be in when it's about to dispatch to the customer, and you can decide the storage based on that. So this is the second thing that you got to plan. What kind of storage for what product and how many such storage is what you're going to need. The third point is what happens between those storages that you keep in your warehouse. So there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. Number one, the time and effort it takes to put things in the rack and the time it takes to take it out of the rack has to be minimum. So you got to keep that in mind while deciding the place between the racks. Chances are you will need a ladder to go up and then remove. So you should have space for the ladder. Chances are you may require a machine that can go up, lift the product out of the rack and then bring it down. You will require space for that machine. So keep that in mind while deciding the place between the racks. The second thing that you will also want to decide is whether your racks are going to be single-sided or double-sided, which means sometimes you will place products from both sides of the rack and sometimes you're going to place products only from one side of the rack. So decide on that also. If you're having a multi-sided rack, then chances are you may require 2 lanes. One lane for each rack. So people who are standing on this lane can remove products from this rack. People who are standing on this lane can remove products from this rack. You will obviously have to decide the width of the racks, of the lanes. Now, the best way to do this is by using an industrial tape or paint and create this entire thing on the floor of your warehouse. Maybe not the real floor of the warehouse at the planning stage. You may want to have your interior guy do the design on the warehouse map, or you may want to do it yourself. Keep the measurements accurate, because this is what your real warehouse is going to look like. Second thing that you got to keep in mind while designing and placement of your warehouse racks is the processing that you will need to do in and around those racks. For example, you will need a designated place for barcoding, okay, because you are going to be scanning them out and scanning them in. Chances are you may have to package or process some items before it goes out of the warehouse. So you will need space for that. You will also need space for labeling. So make sure your racks and your storage systems are such that it allows you space to label the rack level, label the container, and also put labels in the lanes to indicate which lane has what kind of products or what brand of products. The third thing that you will have to keep in mind is the special storage requirements. If you need a refrigerator or a space which has to be dry and stuff like that, you will need additional space. You may probably need electrical vaults nearby of a certain voltage. So make room and keep that in mind as well. This entire planning exercise will make it very clear to you what your new warehouse should look like. And once this is clear, a lot of clutter is gone because you know what your destination is supposed to be. Now you are going to start the execution. So in execution also, there is an element of planning. So I'm going to talk about that first. So first thing first, because your warehouse is in a mess, I'm assuming that you already don't have space in the warehouse to kind of empty and make room for the new storage systems to be placed. So you are going to require a secondary warehouse, a temporary place where you can move some of your products. Now the question that will come in your head is, what is the size of that secondary warehouse that I will need, and what should I be moving and for how much time? So to do that conclusion, you got to know first thing, how much time will it take to install the racks that you have planned? Now you may have to decide how much time it will take for each rack and then decide in your head which are the racks that I want to install first. Then decide how much of space would I need to therefore free up. Once you know these two elements, then you decide that for that kind of time, how much products will I sell? So assuming you decided on the rack that you got to put in first, and putting those racks would require, let's say, 3 weeks of time. Then for 3 weeks, how much are you going to sell? You got to think of that. And what products are you going to sell? Those inventory, that particular inventory, you got to move out to the secondary or a temporary warehouse. Why? Because you don't want to hamper your day-to-day operations. If your day-to-day operation is challenged, I can guarantee you will drop the ball and shelve this project and never pick it up again. So you don't want your regular operations to get impacted at all. So you got to do this. The third thing that you want to do is you have to implement your barcode systems first. Because whenever the product is moving from your primary warehouse, the warehouse that you want to organize, to your temporary warehouse, it needs to be scanned out. Not scanned out against the order, but it needs to be scanned out to a temporary warehouse. And that inventory has to sit like a separate bucket, even in your softwares. So prepare for that. If it does not sit separately, you are going to have counting errors. You are going to have confusions of, oh, you know what, maybe it is in the temporary warehouse. Oh, maybe it is in the primary warehouse. So you got to get your scanning and barcoding systems in place. The third very, very important point that to keep in mind is designate 2 people in your warehouse management process. These 2 people are only supposed to make sure that the movement of inventory from your primary warehouse to your temporary warehouse is by the process. Nothing goes out without getting scanned. barcodes are stuck in the right way, in the right place, and the right barcodes are stuck. Reports are generated, and to project manage the installation of the racks. The reason why I say 2 people is because you always need a backup. You don't want to be caught unaware of one person's absenteeism and now you know your warehouse management project suddenly has hit a roadblock. Now, some of the things that you should keep in mind when you actually start execution. The first thing that you got to do is try and have a scheduled stock in day and if possible a scheduled stock out day. Which means if you're used to purchasing every day, if there are trailers and products coming and shipped to you on an everyday basis, streamline that at least for some time because things are going to be chaotic. So you may want to have all the products coming in, let's say on a Monday, because Sunday usually is going to be heavy during these times. So have Monday. When you go about dispatches, try and do dispatches only twice or thrice a week. Because when you schedule your dispatches, you can designate a time and then ensure that it's only during that time the dispatches are happening and your people are staying away from the whole design of the new warehouse clutter, right? So if they dedicate their time to doing one task at a time, things are going to remain quite smooth. Now, let's say the rack is put up. Let's say the first portion, the first phase of the rack has been put up. You got to get your products back in. That time, make sure the racks are labeled first and you decide where you want to keep which one and you scan it and then you bring it there. Start following the process that you are going to follow in your new warehouse from rack number 1. Don't do the counting exercise after you've placed everything in the rack because that's going to be rework. You're going to put it in the rack and feel easy that okay, now things are placed in the rack. And then you will never have time to count it again, which only means you will never know how much is there in your warehouse and how much is not. That's like half cooking, right? So when your first rack is done, follow the process of the new warehouse. Scan it, label it, and only then stock it up. The next very, very important thing when your warehouse is in the design, decide on the reports and see those reports every single day. 2 things that you want to see every single day with absolute honesty. Number of things that went out of your primary warehouse to your secondary warehouse. Number of things that went out from your secondary warehouse against order outside to your customer. And number of things that came inside your warehouse due to purchase. These numbers and these counts you have to be absolutely vigilant about until your entire warehouse is done. So have a mechanism to have reports generated for all of this, and you got to keep an eye on this every single day. I am sure that with all of these points you will be far more prepared and a lot more confident about going and streamlining your warehouse. The new year is about to come. You want to not start the new year in the mess. You still have time. Make sure you start this exercise. If you have questions, which I can be very certain you will have, place them in the comment box and we'll be very, very happy to answer. If you need our assistance, you know what the drill is. So if you like this video, hit a big fat thumbs up. If you've not shared this video, go ahead, share it with your friends and colleagues so that they can improve on their warehouse also. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please go and show your love to the red button. I would absolutely appreciate you being a part of my subscribers list. Until we meet next time, keep learning, keep implementing, and all you lovely guys, keep propelling.